Hello and welcome, Power Partners, to our informational playground. This is Star Style, Be the Star You Are. It's brought to the airwaves under the auspices of Be the Star You Are charity. I am your host, Cynthia Brian, and we are coming to you on the Voice America Network, the Empowerment Channel. And I am here today with my little granddaughters, and one of them wants to say hello. Hello. This is Kira, and Kira is, how old are you? She's 3, and she is so happy to be here. And she's gonna be 4. She's holding up 4 fingers. So we are, you're not yet. Well, the miracle moment for today is brought to you by Be the Star You Are charity. You can visit the website at bethestarur.org. And it's from Emmanuel Pat Rodegast. You are not a beggar at the table of life. You are the honored guest. So think about that quote is whenever you go and walk into a room that you are an honored guest. And so we need to always act like that. Well, in our show today, in segment 1, we're going to be talking about the epidemic in the United States that's called loneliness, and it is associated with a 30% increase in a risk of death, and that is actually the same as smoking, 15 cigarettes a day. We're also going to talk about the ways that we can deter that and also give you information if you need help. In our second segment, have you ever received a letter indicating that you have won a free cruise? Or do you find a travel deal with very low prices, but then you try to look up the company, you can't find anything about it? Well, these are called travel traps. And it is important to take your time and do your research when making travel plans because scams and con games can happen before you leave home and they can accelerate at a destination. So I'm here to help you how to find out to avoid the traps. Well, in May 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General described loneliness as a brand new epidemic. And recent research from Queen's University in Belfast, Ireland, shows that 50% of individuals over the age of 60 are at a risk for social isolation. In 2020, working as home visiting doctors treating patients in their homes during lockdowns, some of the doctors realized that people were extremely feeling isolated. So, in fact, one elderly patient had a sign on his door that read, "Is anyone there I can talk to?" And that actually captured how many people felt then and still feel today. They just feel alone and like they don't have anyone to talk to. Now, loneliness is associated, as I said at the top of the hour, with a 30% increase in the risk for death, the same as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So, here are some practical strategies that can help you protect your health and your well being. So, how can feeling lonely impact your health? Uh, we know that there's a rise in mortality with loneliness, but it also increases your risk for several other medical conditions that would include depression and anxiety, dementia, obesity, heart disease, and even high blood pressure. And loneliness can lead to unhealthy lifestyle choices, such as not getting enough exercise, or smoking, or drinking too much alcohol, or having poor sleep. And in addition, lonely people describe feeling emotional pain, an intense feeling of distress or suffering. And this stress response can activate inflammation in your body, especially if it goes on for an extended period of time. And according to doctors, that can result in an impaired immune system. And it can also put you at a risk for chronic health conditions. And while we all will feel lonely from time to time because we're all humans in training and loneliness is part of it, it really can affect your life. So, what can you do about it? First of all, you got to leave your house as the first step. Sometimes just go visit other people, go to a public space, go shopping, interact with staff, say hello to people on the way, say hello to strangers. That can all help you feel connected. Second, start a conversation. Talk to friends, family members, or even to neighbors, either in person or with a call to catch up with someone you may have lost contact with. Consider joining a group or a class that interests you. If you feel nervous about joining in, go and watch something. Engage with people with similar hobbies and passions, which can often help you feel connected. Now, one of the big good things is to volunteer in your local community. We here at Be the Star You Are, we actually have volunteers from all over the world, and they actually feel connected because we are communicating and connecting through the various programs that we do. And a lot of organizations have flexible opportunities to help out. You can contribute to a cause that's important to you, you can socialize with other people. So consider volunteering. One of the things that really needs to be addressed is social media. Avoid prolonged use of social media. And while social media was designed to help people feel more connected, it has been linked to increased social isolation and loneliness. And with algorithms designed to keep you hooked and keep having you check your phone, it's not a surprise that this can really harm your mental health and help you feel more lonely. So, if you're going to be on social media, which we know some is good, set a daily timer for the use and then use it to connect with friends or family or foster genuine connections. You can FaceTime someone, and this will help you avoid the doom scrolling, which is just passively scrolling through social media for hours and hours, which can also lead to a lot of self-esteem issues. I mean, negative self-esteem. So, loneliness is very common and it can impact your mental health. Be kind to yourself and celebrate your small wins along the way. And recognize that the journey can take time. And if you or someone you know is struggling or in a crisis, know that help is available. You can call or text 988 or chat with 988lifeline.org. And that's going to be the end of our first segment. I'm Cynthia Brian, and I'll be back with you with the second segment. Kira, do you want to say ciao for now on this one? Because we're ending this segment. You can say, we'll talk more later. Do you want to say something? Not really? Okay. So I have them here with me. And so we're all keeping each other company and being a little bit wild and crazy. You're listening to Cynthia Brian. This is Star Style. Be the star you are. I'll be back in a bit with a business bite. Don't go away. In order to close a sale, we often need information about a company that the client doesn't or hasn't or won't provide. So, what other resources exist to help you know as much as possible about the client you are pitching? In this day of technology, your first line of attack could be to gather information from the internet. After that, get in touch with some company experts, such as calling the company's front desk, talking to secretaries of customer service agents, or anyone who has worked there. Utilize organizations and individuals to monitor the activities of your prospects. And don't forget to talk with other non competing suppliers. That works too. Tap into your people sources, ask questions, listen, and be wise by using the experts. Remember, you're the star of your own performance. Turn your passions into profits. I'm Cynthia Brian with another business bite from Star Style. For more information, visit cynthiabrian.com. That's Cynthia Brian, Brian with an I.com. Well, thank you for staying with me here on Star Style Be the Star You Are. I am your host, Cynthia Brian, and you're listening to us on the Voice America Network, the Empowerment Channel. So I really love to travel, and I'm sure all of you or most people out there love to travel, but there are certain things that can really get you in trouble. We call them travel traps. Con games actually happen to many people before your trip is even started. And a website might offer trips at incredibly low prices. And then they'll say, you got to act immediately. Or you're interested in a travel deal, but you can't find any reviews on the company. These are really red flags. You got to be careful of them. So it's important to take your time, do your homework whenever you're making travel plans. And here are just a few things to look for. That free Wi-Fi scam. If you get a QR code at a cafe that promises free Wi-Fi, but connects you to a fake area, logging in could really be scary for you. I mean, you could even lose your financial accounts. So I would never use a free Wi-Fi or a public Wi-Fi or any public network to do anything with your financials. Use the hotel Wi-Fi, or you could invest in a VPN. Now, there's also the fake tour trap. It sounds too good to be true. These are excursions that, they'll say, oh, for $1, for $10, when everywhere else they're $80 or more. This could lead to a bad time, or even worse. It could mean harm to your body or your life. Always book through reputable companies. And if you're on a cruise line, I know a lot of people decide to go off on their own, and I've done that myself. However, remember one thing, cruise lines are going to use reputable companies, and if for any reason the company is late getting you back to the cruise line and it's taking off, the cruise line will wait for you. I remember being on a trip down in Belize and Honduras and down there. And it was kind of funny. A couple was on their honeymoon and they hired a Jeep to go on a trip. And they didn't get back on time. And the cruise ship started sailing away. And this couple was on the shore screaming, stop, stop, stop. But the boat was too big and the boat couldn't stop. So they got left behind. They had to hire a boat to drive them to the big ship. And they were on their honeymoon, and the wife was so mad. She said, this could be our divorce. Anyway, it was funny after the fact. I know it wasn't funny for them, but just remember that happens. The other thing is something that is called the free item, and this is a con. Somebody hands you just a small item. It could be anything. It could be like a little statue, or it could be a small picture. Or sometimes they just put it on you and they say it's free. Well, do not take it. Walk away, because the minute you take it, their tone will change and they're going to demand payment. So never accept a free item. Hand it back immediately, or you could, if they won't take it, put it on the ground and walk away. The bottom line of this is, if something feels off, just remember it probably is. And don't trust booking sites that demand large sums of money up front, or they want to be paid in an unusual way, like a wire transfer or cryptocurrency. And if you get caught in these, you need to contact the Trade Commission or the U.S. Department of State to get pretty much more advice. I also just want to point out, because I got one just the other day, in the mail, I got a flyer to come to a free dinner where if you attended this dinner, you were going to be given 2 free air flight for a cruise, the flight and a cruise to the Caribbean. Well, that is obviously a scam. When you go to that dinner, they're going to try to sell you something, a timeshare, or maybe it's fake. It might be completely fake. So just throw those things away. I know when we were younger and had zero money, my husband and I used to say, oh, well, maybe we should go to this. Well, you don't want to. So just don't do it because it could be very dangerous for you. So just to give you some other things to watch out for, make sure to use reputable sites like Expedia, Kayak, or official airline and hotel websites whenever you are searching for arrangements. If you see a website that has poor spelling or grammar or any amateur graphics, that could indicate that it is a scam site. Next, research the booking company before you book with it. It should have contact information that's easy to find, a physical address, an email address, and a phone number. Then check out their ratings on Yelp, the Better Business Bureau, or go to TripAdvisor. I use TripAdvisor all the time. And avoid offers from companies that have vague or missing contact details. Steer clear of bookings that demand that excessive payment, as I said, or they want too much personal information before you book. Make sure you read the fine print and make sure the company's payment page has that SSL up there. You know that when you go to the box, it should have like a lock on it, because if it doesn't, it's not HTTPS, dash the forward slashes, then it's probably not authentic. You always want to verify the authenticity of a link in an email before you click on it. Hover over it with your cursor to ensure that it matches the website at the top. And always use a credit card for bookings, because you're going to have more consumer protections if either somebody goes bankrupt or if it wasn't for real. If you use a credit card, you can usually get some money back. And then keep your financial information secure when you travel. It is as important as packing your bags. So on your financial information, use strong passwords. Enable two-factor authentication. That means you would enter a code that's emailed or text to you before making any payments. Have a backup authentication in case you lose your phone, like an alternate number or an email address. You can always contact your bank, and actually it's a really good idea to do, and credit card companies to ask if they need to know your travel plans. I know my Visa in the past, always if I was traveling, wanted to know I was traveling. So that way that if you get to a foreign country, they're not going to ban you or lock you out. And this is big because a lot of young people post everything they're doing on social media. You do not want to post that you're away from home. Wait until you get home to post your pictures and say that you are away, because you know what? It's just a good way to get robbed. The Federal Trade Commission also advises you to get recommendations from friends and families about companies that you want to use that are properly licensed. And if you're going to go on a charter flight, make sure to verify that they're legitimate, because you can become, as I said before, a victim of a scam at home in the US or abroad. So there's so many different types of travel scams and travel traps, but they all share that common goal. They just want to take your money. So protect yourself, protect your money from scams. And some best practices are: never send money to someone abroad if you have not met them in person, and especially if you have met them online. And don't share personal details over the phone or online, even in your social media. And be aware that, again, if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Tell the person claiming to be a U.S. citizen in distress, who is living abroad, to contact the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate. Sometimes if you're on social media, somebody will say, I'm a U.S. citizen, but I'm in trouble. So don't you try to help them. Send them to an embassy or a consulate, which you can find online. And if somebody tells you that the U.S. Embassy won't help, they can call the Department of State's Overseas Citizen Service. And here's the phone number: 888 888-407-4747. Because if you send money to a U.S. citizen in an emergency through the Department of State's OCS Trust Program, the person's going to need to show a photo ID to get the cash. So that's going to protect you. So you can learn more by contacting the U.S. Embassy or consulate where they are located. If you have been a victim of a travel scam, please file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission and with the FBI, and you can do that at ic3.gov or travel.state.gov. So those should be some helpful tips for you to stay out of the travel traps. And that is what our show is for today. So I thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you are tuned in to Star Style, Be the Star You Are, every week with me, Cynthia Brian. And make sure to listen to our teen show, Express Yourself Teen Radio, which is also broadcasting on Sundays on the Empowerment Channel, right here on the Voice America Network. You can change your life. You can make your dreams come true. So for more information about Star Style Productions or to purchase any of my books, visit cynthiabrian.com. For books, you can click on the store. And my 12th book, the fourth book in the Stella Bella Barnyard Adventure Series, will be debuting this fall. So be watching out for it. For more information about Be the Star You Are charity, you can visit Be the Star You Are at bethestaryouare.org. Until we celebrate next week on the Star Style Playground, remember that love always wins, kindness always prevails, and smiles keep us happy. I am Cynthia Brian for Star Style, thanking you and encouraging you to be kind, be inclusive, tell the truth, live with integrity, embrace cultures, love unconditionally, encourage others, be generous, read, lead, succeed, communicate, collaborate, innovate, and most of all, be your unapologetically authentic self, because everyone counts. Go out into the world and be the star you are. Thanks for joining me. We'll talk next week. Make it a great one.